This is All India Radio. In the program Spotlight, now we bring you a discussion on PM's Mann Ki Baat. The participants are Ashok Tandon, political analyst, and KV Prasad, senior journalist.
The Prime Minister gave his customary Mann Ki Baat address over All India Radio this morning, and as usual, lakhs of people in the country look forward to this because in a way, every last Sunday, he engages the attention of people in a conversation taking issues of interest, and some of the interests that find almost regularly featuring in his address to people through the radio is environment, is concern for health for people, and how people's participation should increase in any of these campaigns which are in a sustainable environment and many other issues related to it. Tandon Saab is going to see the big picture emerging from today because he touched upon a lot of issues, some which are linked around to the dates in which we are here today in the month of September, and of course the festival season as if we enter into it starting from tomorrow. The big points that you would like to highlight.
One of the major takeoffs the Prime Minister paid to Shahid Bhagat Singh and announced that the Chandigarh airport would be henceforth named as Shahid Bhagat Singh Airport. It is a huge tribute to a freedom fighter who perhaps could not get the rightful place in the history of India over the last 7 decades. And then he also paid glowing tributes to the memory of Pandit Deendayal Upadhyay, and whose birth anniversary falls on the 25th of September. That is today. And he said that Pandit Deendayal, he was a brilliant humanist, thinker, and great son of the country. And he went on to recall his contribution and said that the more the youth of our country takes pride in the identity and honor of our great sons of India and daughters of India, more their original ideas and philosophies attract them. He said the biggest feature of Deendayalji's thought is that in his lifetime he had seen the great upheavals of the world. And then he went on to talk about Deendayalji's idea of Ekatma Manavvad, that is integral humanism, and Antyodaya. These are the two hallmarks of Narendra Modi government, and as far as the social and economic emancipation of the downtrodden and deprived sections of the society is concerned. And then coming to Sardar Bhagat Singh, and he said that on the 28th of September will be a special day of the ongoing Amrit Mahotsav, because on that day India will celebrate the birth anniversary of Bhagat Singh Ji, and a brave son of Mother India, and he said very rightly, the Chandigarh airport henceforth will be known after him. Now, these were the glowing tributes which the Prime Minister paid, and he said in that context, he also talked about the unveiling of the statue of Netaji Subhash Chandra Bose on the Kartavya Path in Delhi. And, Netaji is also one of those freedom fighters who could not get the rightful place in the history. So PM Modi is, one after the other. He is giving the place which was due to them in the Indian history one by one. And then he said that we need to celebrate these people's memories so that the younger generation can get enthusiasm and they can remember them all that. And before I come to other points, the language, he said the language policy, the new education policy has specifically made a place for physically challenged and people who are either unable to hear, unable to express themselves through speech. So the biggest support for such friends is the sign language. But a big problem in India for years was that there were no clear gestures, no standards for sign language. And to overcome these difficulties, the Indian Sign Language Research and Training Center was established, and in 2015, and he said he is happy that the institution has thus far prepared a dictionary comprising 10,000 words and expressions. And he went on to talk about the national education policy also, which has maintained a fixed standard for the sign language. So a lot of importance Prime Minister gave to the sign language, and that was in a way his way of encouraging the specially challenged people in our society.
I think the Prime Minister gave two examples of people whose parents had children with these challenges and how they have now picked up sign language to communicate with their own children with whom they could not do because of this congenital issues. Sir, take the forward the one more issue which the Prime Minister, as usual, as I said, mentioned, was the cheetah issue. In the sense, the arrival of cheetahs has merely been welcomed widely both across in India, and everybody in the world is looking forward to this relocation. I think the Prime Minister has seen the response of people who want to go and visit Kuno National Park to see the cheetah for themselves, has given them a task by engaging them and asking them to come up with a set of names which can be given to these cheetahs, and said maybe one of them could be the first person to visit. Of course, parameters are already in place where the research team will closely study the pattern of cheetahs and then come up with allowing people and all that. But I think that is a wonderful way of interacting with people and looking forward to their participation in this cheetah program.
Yes, certainly. First of all, assured the nation that a task force has been formed, and this force will monitor the cheetahs and see how much they have been able to adapt to the environment here. And on the basis of that, a decision will be taken after a few months when people will be able to see the cheetahs, because there is a lot of huge anxiety. But till then, he said that I am assigning a work to the countrymen. For this, a competition is being organized on his MyGov platform, in which he urged people to share certain things, including the names of to be given to the cheetahs, as you very rightly said. The winner may be the first to go and visit and see the cheetahs. So a lot of interest was generated, and he said that this is also one way of how the humans should behave with animals. That is the spirit behind the whole cheetah campaign. But even our fundamental duties emphasize, and they have laid that respect for animals. And he appealed to everybody, all the nations, so to just not see cheetah in that context, but the human behavior towards the animal. That is the spirit of it.
Sir, another issue that the Prime Minister has raised, and this is concerning everybody, and the idea of introducing course games, and talked about the issue of Millet Year, International Year of Millet, that is going to be held in 2023, in which India took a major initiative. So that's one area which he thinks the country should also understand and find out for themselves how this coarse grain, which was part of India's traditional kitchen, should make a comeback as a food on the table.
Yes, the millet PM has been mentioning practically in every speech, because this is an area where India can excel. And the whole world is now looking towards millet. So you have very rightly mentioned that PM has been emphasizing on this issue. But I think another very issue concerns the water. And in that context, for the first time, he talked about the cleanliness drives not only of our rivers or ponds, but also of the sea. And he gave the example. We all know that India has 7,500 kilometers of coastline, and it has remained unbroken. The coastal border passes through many states and islands, and India's culture, full of different communities and diversities, can be seen flourishing here. So therefore, the cleanliness drive of the beaches and the marine ecosystem, and that was one very important area about PM today mentioned. He gave the example how it is becoming a mass movement. People are participating in it. Swachh Sagar, Surakshit Sagar, a campaign which started on the 5th of July, culminated on the 17th of September, on the day of the Vishwakarma Jayanti. So Coastal Cleanup Day, he said it should be observed by everybody as part of the campaign of Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav.
The Prime Minister never forgets to remind people how important vocal for local is, and talked about the use of khadi again, which I think has been his hallmark, because very often he visits this subject to remind people how it also is related to the issue of environment, because when you turn to these khadi products and so on. So one issue, of course, was linked to health. He talked about the TB-Free India campaign and how students of medical college and others are going on this campaign to kind of encourage people keep a healthy lifestyle. I think that again is a very important issue that he raised around.
Certainly, mentioning the forthcoming festival season, as he said, the Navaratras start tomorrow, and then there will be Dussehra. He made an appeal, and he has been repeatedly making the appeal. We should go for vocal for local. Let's buy the local projects. Khadi, handloom, handicraft. Whenever, we talk of giving gifts during the festival season, we should always remember vocal for local. And he said that very unfortunately, plastic bags are still being used to carry those gifts. He said, why not have bags made of jute, other material, and that will not only boost our domestic economy, but it will also help the environment. So he gave the detailed example of the festivals which are coming. But I think Vocal for Local is one campaign which PM has always been emphasizing, and particularly during the festival season, he said the bags now can be made of jute, cotton, banana fiber, and many such traditional bags. They are all available, and that will, in fact, it should be our duty to promote them on the occasion of festival and care of our health and environment along with the cleanliness drive.
And two issues which, of course, innovate and relate to people again directly is he talked about sports, of course, the national games which are coming to be held in Gandhinagar from towards the end of this month, and also the para sports where Indian athletes are now winning international laurels. First is he reminded people of the return of the national games and coming on the national sports calendar after a long gap. So again, this is also related to how Indians can promote sports and look at a healthy lifestyle building.
Yes, of course. Another important point was PM's emphasis on the TB-Free India campaign, whose basis is public participation, a sense of duty. And he said it is possible to cure TB with the right nutrition, with the right medicine, at the right time. And he urged people to adopt one TB patient and take a lead in ensuring a nutrition diet to them. He said he believes that with this power of public participation, India will definitely be free from TB by the year 2025. And coming back to the International Millet Year, PM recalled, even in his last month's Mann Ki Baat, he has discussed about the coarse cereal and celebrating the 2023 as the International Millet Year. And he said people are very curious about this topic. And he needs to emphasize again and again, these are signs of a big change. Seeing this enthusiasm of people, I think that we should prepare an e-book together in which people can share their experiences and dishes made from millet, so that therefore before the start of the International Millet Year, we will have sort of an encyclopedia on millet which can be published on the MyGov portal.
And I think before we conclude this program, one of the very messages that we'll remember for long, he reminded people that when he was interacting with the elected officials and mayors of cities and towns, how the issue of local communities and involving them in cleanliness should be taken up. And in this context, he remembered a team from Bangalore called Youth for Parivartan, who in the last 8 years, this team has been working on cleanliness and other community activities. And their simple motto is stop complaining and start acting. And the team has so far beautified some 370 places across the city. I think that's a great initiative, obviously encouraged by Clean India campaign that the Prime Minister launched very soon when he took over in 2014.
Should be made mass movements, like he always recalls Mahatma Gandhi's Quit India movement, and it could become a success only with the participation of people. And now we need to make all these campaigns as mass movements, because the government agencies alone can't do all these things. As a matter of duty, people must participate in all these campaigns, and that is the beauty of these campaigns. That is why we have achieved great success in a large number of such campaigns which were initiated by the Prime Minister when he came.
He also mentioned of a campaign in Meerut where they called Kabaad se Jugaad, which obviously is from waste to create something out of it. On those very high notes, thank you very much for taking part in this.
Thank you.
You were listening to a discussion on PM's Mann Ki Baat. The participants were Ashok Tandon, political analyst, and KV Prasad, senior journalist. This program was produced and presented by the News Services Division of All India Radio. You can listen to it on our mobile app, News on AIR. This program is also available on our YouTube channel, News on AIR Official. You may email your opinion about this program at airnsttalks@gmail.com.